Welcome, everybody. It is the first week of December. We can hardly believe it. I don't really want to believe it. I don't know.
No.
I'm still over here processing 2020. And now we're like in the last month of 2021. Like, how does that even happen?
I don't know. I don't know how that happens.
I don't know either, but my mind is just blown sometimes. So Jen, you're going on a trip.
Yes. Holy moly.
I know.
When this episode comes out, I'll already be on the trip. So
That's
surprise,
exciting.
I'm away. I'm flying to Ontario to visit my best friend. So she lives on Thunder Bay. And then we are potentially maybe going to Minnesota. It's been a little bit up in the air with COVID and, all of those stupid things. But I think we're at least going to make it down for a day trip to a small town called Grand Marais. I really love Minnesota. So I'm really excited to be back there. I haven't been to Thunder Bay or Minnesota since 2017. So
Nice.
It's been a little while. I'm excited.
Well, I mean, for those of us who haven't flown, and that's us, both of us right now, but when you're back, but like, honestly, can't wait to hear like what life is like out there.
I know. I'm nervous and excited.
I know you're a pandemic explorer and you can just like tell us your tales from like the wide world.
Yeah. The wide world of Toronto Pearson Airport and Thunder Bay, Ontario.
And maybe Minnesota. That's so exciting.
We'll see what it brings.
Well, we can't wait to hear about it. And like safe travels. Seriously, I'm sure it will be great. And I'm glad you're gonna be able to see your pal.
Yeah.
So now on to this week's episode. So although it's technically not winter and we're not trying to rush it, trust us, but it is cold and dark out there in Nova Scotia and winter is not really our jam. And we're okay to admit that. We get through it.
Yep.
We must, but it's not our favorite season, but there's still lots to do. And there are people lucky enough who love winter. So they're probably already out there doing all this stuff. But if you'd like to get outside and it's not normally something you do in the winter, this episode is for you. So like what to do in Nova Scotia during the winter. And we'd love to give a shout out to listeners, Mandy and Sandra, Abby and Heather for their additional ideas for this episode as well. When we put a shout out on our social media.
Yeah.
So Jen, kick us off. What can we do? Let's get started.
Yeah. So first we're going to talk about outdoor adventures. So there's lots to do outside of Nova Scotia in the winter. Who knew? So let's start off with skiing, downhill skiing. I'm not personally a skier. Have you ever skied, Megan?
Okay, for those of you who don't know, I'm 6 foot tall and I never grew into it. Let's just put it that way. My grade 12 grad trip, we did go to Ski Martok. Right. And like there were some really athletic people in my class and they were like, ski bunnies like immediately. And I tried the bunny hill and I'm like, you know what? I'm not meant to have slippery sticks strapped to my feet. So I just honestly sat and watched people all day and drank hot chocolate. So that was my experience. What about you?
Yeah. So I've never gone technically skiing. I've gone snowboarding one time and it was also a school trip. And I also only went down the bunny hill and went, I don't know if this is for me. So I also sat in the lodge. But for those of you who like to ski, we do have actually a plethora of options. So Ski Wentworth in the Wentworth Valley, which we've talked a little bit about the Wentworth Valley before because of an Airbnb that you've stayed at, I think, right? Ski Martok in like the Windsor area. Ski Ben Yon, which is about a half an hour outside of Sydney in Cape Breton, and then Ski Cape Smoky in Ingonish, Cape Breton. And Cape Smoky actually just opened Atlantic Canada's first gondola. Very exciting. You don't have to ski. The gondola is open all year and you can go up just for the views. I took a gondola trip one time in Alberta and I was absolutely terrified and hated every second.
Really?
I have a fear of heights. Well, see, here's what happened is I was on this trip with my dad and stepmom, and my stepmom told me we were taking a gondola ride, and I thought she meant a boat because in Italy, a gondola is a boat. So when I got to it and it was a ski hill lift, I was like, huh.
Not what I was expecting.
But yeah, so I'd like to do it because it's a pretty cool thing to have in Nova Scotia. And the views look like they're pretty great. And you can take a helicopter ride there as well. Also scary to me, but something I'd like to cross off my bucket list.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd love to do that. We did a gondola in Lake Placid. So where they had the Olympics, there's a gondola you can take there. So we did that there, and I really enjoyed it. If we make it to Europe next year in Switzerland, I'm sure that's going to be like several gondolas in our future. So it is a little scary for me too. I do it, but it's a tiny bit scary, but I really enjoy it. I just try to shut out that part and like enjoy the views as much as possible. I know it's hard to do that, but it's just, that's what I try to do because I get a little fearful of that stuff too. But it's like trying to push myself, you know, that little extra mile to be like, it's okay. Everybody's doing it. Exactly.
Next on our list is skiing of the cross country kind. So there's a ton of trails in Nova Scotia where you could do this. Listener Mandy suggested Kejimkujik National Park, which sounds great. I actually need to get to Keji, so maybe I've done cross country skiing before, and it was.
Oh, I've not.
No, it's fun. It's you're in control the whole time. So
that would be better. I think I would be better. I'm just not. I don't know. Like, I just picture skis and me like Bambi on ice. I just can't get it anything else out of my head. And I mean, maybe I'm selling myself short. It's very possible, but anyway, it sounds like it'd be lovely.
What's next on the list, Megan?
Something I've also never done before, but I really, really would like to do, and I know I could pretty much do this, and it's snowshoeing. So there are lots of places to go snowshoeing. My best friend Jen in New Brunswick, they go snowshoeing all the time, but we suggest checking out the Amherst Bird Sanctuary, summer or winter. I so want to go there. We still need to do this. Or Cape Breton Highlands National Park. So have you snowshoed?
I have not snowshoed. I've meant to. I mean, it's funny because they used to have them in Halifax where you could rent them for free from certain places. And every winter I'd be like, I'm going to do that. But every time there was enough snow, I didn't feel like going to get them, I guess.
Because it's outdoors in winter.
Yeah, I guess.
But it does sound fun. We have some, like, it's like, were we even born here? It seems like we weren't.
I know.
Anyway, next up, skating at the Oval. So I must admit, I've done roller skating at the Oval, but again, like strapping blades to my feet at this age also sounds scary for me. I love skating when I was young, but I haven't skated in years. I have skate, so I could, but I don't. So anyway, the Halifax Oval has been a winter staple since 2011, which I can't believe. Halifax did the Canada Winter Games. Now, talk to us about a concert you saw there.
Yeah, so in 2011, when we hosted the Canada Winter Games, they had free concerts in Parade Square, and it was February. Outdoor concerts in February. I mean, they do it for New Year's Eve too, but anyway, we saw Great Big Sea, and it was a really good, fun concert, but very, very cold. And then we were planning to see City and Color at the end of that week. And then I think it was like the weather was extra yucky, so we decided not to venture downtown. But yeah, it was fun when Halifax hosted the Canada Winter Games. And I have skated on the Oval a couple of times. We went one year for New Year's Eve, and it was really fun because they had like a DJ, and like it was a cool experience. And then we've gone kind of in a normal time. And I saw this fun fact: the ice surface is the equivalent of 3 NHL hockey rinks. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
I know.
Wow.
Big. But it is.
Go Halifax, go.
But yeah,
Who knew?
I highly suggest it. If you're in the Halifax area, it's fun. They have free skates. So if you don't have skates, or they did pre-COVID, so hopefully they still do. But yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell us what's next. Something we both love, and I'm sure we've mentioned before, but is worth mentioning again.
Sugar Moon Farm. I feel like, it's been numerous episodes where we've brought them up.
It's our Iceland of Nova Scotia that we mentioned. Enjoy Sugar Moon Farm, everyone, again.
So it's really fun to go in the winter and kind of into the spring because they're actually like making maple syrup, especially in like the March-ish time. So you can see how they make maple syrup. They have nearby trails where you can walk or snowshoe depending on the conditions. They usually have quite a bit of snow up there, like compared to Halifax area. Delicious maple themed brunch and maple syrup on snow. I did see that the reservations for the restaurant are required, so you can't just show up, because in the before times, like, you shared a table with strangers, and now clearly don't do that, so it's a little small, so they want you to make reservations,
I guess.
mm-hmm.
All right, then we'll do it if we have to. We love the maple grub.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you could also go sledding. I love I love like sledding. I love a crazy carpet.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. So you could go sledding on Citadel Hill. There's golf courses. I'm sure there's little hills. It's a hilly city.
Yeah.
And it's a hilly province in
Yeah.
areas. So I'm sure you can find some hills nearby to wherever you are. So it is something that like I loved as a kid, and I'm sure parents still love doing with kids, but honestly, we've gone as adults. So it's something, it's an all ages activity.
It's really fun. And yeah, it's definitely like going back to your youth, right? For that time. And I know in Liverpool, the hill that we used to sled on growing up was in a graveyard. So you did have to kind of dodge a couple of headstones.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Hill. But
Use us, ma'am. We're just trying to have some good winter fun. Whatever works. Whatever works.
Whatever works.
Then, well, let's move on from that. And you can tell us about a lovely spa that so many people are talking about, still kind of hard to get into, but would be amazing in the winter. You've been.
Yeah, so Sensi Nordic Spa, Nova Scotia's first Nordic spa. We've talked about it before. I was supposed to go yesterday and I canceled it because it poured rain yesterday.
Oh, yes,
that won't be fun. So sadly, I was hoping to give you a real, like, firsthand fresh experience, but I don't have it for you. But I went last October 2020, and it's really nice. It has like saunas and like outdoor like hot baths, and the idea is that you like warm up and then do a cool down and then you relax, and then you repeat that like at least 3 times. They also have massages and spa services. Like Megan said, you do have to book a spa pass, and they can be difficult to get. So it's kind of a refresh.
Yeah.
And keep checking. But
it's not a wake up on a Monday, go on a Monday. It's like plan.
It's mostly a plan, which sucks because of the weather. You know, I booked this with my friend like a month and a half ago, and then the day comes and it's like it's going to pour. Right. So it is what it is. It's worth going to for sure. When we went in October 2020, we had an amazing time, and I want to go again, but it's a little bit hard to plan.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I'm sure people do go in the pouring rain, but that's just not my jam.
No, I don't think I would be into that either. And I don't blame you for canceling, but hopefully you'll have you even attempted to rebook, or you're just like another time?
There's not much right now. Like, I'm looking for cancellation for December, and then they only release the schedule so far in advance. So there's nothing opened yet for January. So I'm still looking, but people do cancel. There's a 2-day cancellation policy. So if you're looking and you want to go like in the next 3 days, that's when to kind of try to, because people will cancel. Yeah.
Look at that insider tip.
It hasn't worked for me yet, but
well, hopefully
it might have snagged my spot from Monday.
Exactly. Well, let's finish off this outdoors bit. So this is something that I love to do, especially like when it's like lightly snowing or like after like a fresh snow. I have to say that is when I probably like love winter most. A, when I don't have to go anywhere because it's just a pain in the arse. Yeah. And then B, like after a snowfall or during is one that's not super windy. So going for like walks in parks. So whether it's Shuby Park over in Dartmouth, Point Pleasant in downtown Halifax, a park near you, wherever you're listening from, I think is a really great way if you're not athletic, don't love skiing, those kind of things. But if you're in winter, we really should do our best, at least try to enjoy some of it. And that's one way that I find to do it. And then another option we wanted to mention, although we're not promoters of it necessarily, is sleigh rides. It's something that is in a lot of different parts of Nova Scotia in particular. But if that's something you wish to do, you can do your own research on that. But we did want to mention it as people do enjoy it. And it is a service that's provided. So if that's your thing, we'll leave that part up to you.
Yes. Right. So
Let's move indoors where it's warmer.
Move indoors where Megan and I thrive.
I thrive on the indoors.
We're with you. So here are some fun indoor things to do. And the first thing I want to talk about is axe throwing, which we did recently in the summer in Shelburne, but that was outside. But we've done a few times. It's really fun. We did Halimac in Halifax just before, like, I swear it was a week before the pandemic. It was very close. And then there's the Timber Lounge as well in Halifax. The Halimac is hatchets. Timber Lounge is full axes.
Right. I think I would be better at hatchets for some reason.
I was better at hatchets than I was.
I can see that. Me too. I feel like I would feel more in control.
Yes, I don't know if I hit the target hardly at all with like the large axes, and Darren in Shelburne kept like moving me closer and closer to like the target. And
he's like, why don't I just give you the axe and then you can just put it in.
Yeah. I do want to mention, if you're closer to Bridgewater, like I am, Strike'em Multi-Sport is in Bridgewater, and they have axe throwing and they have batting cages. So I haven't been there yet, but I did meet the owner. He's paramedic as well as owning the Strike'em Multi-Sport. So I did want to give him a nice shout out because he's really great, and I hope to check them out this winter. On my list.
Next, we have something that I love is an escape room. So I did one with my work and then one with Peter and then a couple of friends of ours. I don't recall with my work if we escaped, so that tells me we didn't, but we might have.
Yeah.
And then we were so close to escaping with our friends and then didn't. So that was really unfortunate. But if you don't know what an escape room is, it's basically rooms that have themes. We did like, I can't remember the work one, but the friends one that we did, it was like a icky hospital, it was awful. There are lots around the province, and we did it in downtown Halifax. Where have you been?
Yeah, so I've done 4, but 3 were at the place in Lower Sackville called Escape Artist. They're really, really great. The Sackville one I love. I mean, it has like, you have a window, you don't feel so trapped.
Right.
No, I really like the one in Sackville. The themes are really well done. Yeah, we've done 3 there. And then the other one I did was Trapped in downtown Halifax with my work.
That's one of the ones I did.
Yeah, that one was fun. I remember being locked in a jail cell for the first bit, but I don't remember what we were escaping. I guess jail. I'm not sure.
I was in a cell, so maybe that's what I was trying to escape.
Remember, but anyway, they were both well done. I would say the one in Sackville, the Escape Artist, the guy is like watching you the whole time, which it was more like a personal experience because there was one thing with a clue that we had to weigh something, and for whatever reason, the scale, when we put the right thing on the scale, the wrong number came up, so we wouldn't have been able to move on. And he caught it, and he came in and recalibrated the scale, and like paused the timer, recalibrated the scale. Because the one in Halifax, the Trapped one we did, we like, you can ask for clues if you're stuck.
Yes.
And we like radioed and asked for clues, and they're like, okay, where are you? And you're trying to like explain everything you've done up until that point, which is just like really annoying. So anyway, we had fun there. I don't want to like knock Trapped because we had a great time. And I think that they're a chain as well, but Escape Artists, highly, highly recommend in Sackville if you're closer.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is good to know.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next? The Boardroom Game Cafe. So if you live in Halifax, it's downtown, and it's just a really great place to spend an afternoon. So they have board games, and they also have food and drink options. They're licensed. You can get an alcoholic drink as well. And it's a really fun place to like hang out with your friends, and they'll teach you a game as well. So if you're like, oh, I don't know what I should play, they'll kind of teach you how to play. And I've been several times, and we've had a blast every single time. There's one in Sackville too, and I'm blanking on the name.
I've been to the one downtown Halifax. It was called what?
Press Play Cafe.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. I think it opened like during COVID, which is a horrible time to open a game cafe.
Right.
Hopefully they're doing well.
All the best to them, same as us with our podcast for traveling during a pandemic.
Yeah, we feel them.
We feel you. We feel you indeed. Museums. So there are many amazing museums all around the province. Can't list them all, of course. Obviously, a great way to spend a snowy afternoon, especially if you have kids. Well, off the top of my head, the Natural History Museum in Halifax and also the Discovery Center.
Yeah.
Both of those places, I guess it doesn't, not a museum, but would fall sort of under that category. I would highly recommend. A little bit of learning and out of the elements, I think would be great. Good place to take kids, or even for adults. We can still learn stuff even at our age.
I love the Discovery Center. I haven't been since they opened the new one, so it's been quite.
No, me either.
I've been, but I enjoyed the old one, so someday I'll check out the new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else?
Next up, sports games. Halifax mostly has a lot of sports teams. So you can see the Halifax Mooseheads or the Cape Breton Eagles play in the Q League, the QMJHL. Side note, I really want to call them the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles, but apparently they dropped the screaming from their name. So
they're no longer screaming.
Not screaming. They're just the Eagle. There's also the Halifax Thunderbirds that play professional lacrosse, and then Halifax Hurricanes that play basketball. And then there's junior hockey teams all over the province if you want to take in that. I went to a Thunderbirds game in 2020 just before the pandemic, and I have to say it was one of like the best times that I've had at a sports game. And I knew nothing about lacrosse. Like absolutely nothing. And we had so much fun. And coming from a hockey family, they would do something in lacrosse and they'd be like, can they do that? They were like hitting each other. I was like, is that allowed?
Nice.
It is allowed. Allegedly it's allowed, but it's really fun. And it can be a really fun thing to do in an evening or an afternoon, depending on when they're playing.
I agree. We've said this before, there's nothing like live theater, live music, live sports. Even if you're not into the sport, you get caught up in the excitement. And I think it's a great way to get out of the elements, but also really to support local too, I think is a great way. I mean, and there's rinks all across this province with even junior or AA, AAA, whatever it is in the hockey world. But hockey is huge here. And so you could always get out and see live sports, even if it's amateur. I'm sure they would love the support. And it's a great way to be out in your community as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention before we move on is something I'm going to do in January, I swear, it's called the Rage Room. So it's in Halifax. It's on Isleville Street. It is what you think it is. You go there and you smash it. And I'm just excited. I am very even keeled, pretty even Steven. I don't really get too far up or too far down. I'm just kind of whatever. But I feel like maybe because of that within me, maybe something needs to come out. I don't know if it does, but I want to see if it does. So we are going to go in January with a couple of our friends. All of the items are thrift store items. So they have lived their lives.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're allowing you to smash new stuff. And all electronics are taken and recycled at the appropriate place.
Good.
So their waste is dealt with, etc. So there's date night packages, those kind of things, really different ranges, $40, but you can go up sort of into the hundreds. It's according to how much rage, I guess, you have. And how much stuff you want to smash. But I'm really pumped to try it. Had you heard of this place?
Yeah, but I haven't done it. And I actually forgot about it until you mentioned it. So yeah, that could be really.
I'm not sure it's a winter activity. I suppose you could do it all year long, but it's indoors. It's something when, cold Saturday nights, it's not like you're heading outside. So it'd be a good activity for a weekend. But I will update you, gang.
Please update us.
We will for sure. I can't wait to give it a go. I'll let you know too if it brings out stuff that I didn't know was there. Who needs therapy when you have a rage room?
Exactly.
So let's talk about some places to get away, because people oftentimes in the winter kind of like put a halt on that, understandably, because when you book places, sometimes you have to pay for half up front. And if the weather's bad, you can't get to it. So we really do keep our circle fairly small in the winter, but there are some great places to get away. What are a couple of ideas?
Yeah, so I mean, there's resorts all over the place, but the ones that kind of came to mind for me being on the South Shore is White Point, the Quarter Deck, and Oak Island. So we actually did Quarter Deck in November of 2020. So it was chilly, and I mean, we went for a walk on the beach and
I
had a,
saw you there.
and oh yeah, through the window. That
I
was
was there for the
oh,
weekend.
I forgot about that. I was there with my friends. We were there with friends or family.
I was with friends. It was my friend Renette's 50th birthday.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. But yes, so
Yeah.
we were there the same time. And I think it was still fun, even though it wasn't like beach weather, like typical beach weather. We still went for a walk on the beach and had a really nice dinner and hung out in our room with our friends. And I mean, you could do that at any, I guess, like place around any hotel or whatever around Nova Scotia. And yeah, it's really fun. I know you've done some really good Airbnbs that like hot tubs because people are really into the hot tub in the winter.
They are indeed. And it is definitely more of a winter thing. I have found, though, that in winter, one thing about hot tubs, I'm sure if anybody owns one, they can understand they cool down actually quite quickly,
Right.
especially if you're in like a breezy area. So I sort of think like spring and fall are often the best times for hot tubs. But I mean, if you're at one in the winter, it's not a sad event or anything. It just cools down a little bit more. So I do have three I want to talk about. And these are literally their names on Airbnb, which aren't great names, but this is how you can sort of search them. So
Right.
the one that we were just at in Wentworth, which is right across from Ski Wentworth. So if you can snag it and you're a skier, it's a perfect location. So it's literally called Log Cabin in Wentworth with hot tub and wood stove.
Yeah.
So
Very descriptive.
very descriptive, and that's the name of it. Another one we stayed at for our anniversary this year, which is the Black Shack, which is in Western Head near you. And then Oceanfront Cottage, modern and private. And that's in Rose Bay. So that's near the Ovens. And both of those are really great. We did stay at the Rose Bay one in January, and it is right by the water, which is lovely, but that's where it kind of like cooled off from like, and when you have to, and excuse me for talking about this, but if you have to pee, getting in and out is terribly painful. Oh my goodness. And Pete in the cold, once he's been in a hot tub, is honestly some of the funniest moments of my whole life. I love it so much. But we always try to look for a hot tub that's like really close proximity. Actually, one of the, and we'll maybe put it in the notes because I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but there's a great one in Wolfville, just down the hill that we stayed at this past summer, down the hill from Pete's Luckett's Winery.
Okay, nice.
That would be a really great one as well. So maybe I'll shove that link in there for the show notes. But they're all over the province, but they are very popular. So you really do have to plan. And again, really check the cancellation policies on those because you can lose out, especially if you've had a couple other cancellations throughout the year. You will lose some money. So really just be careful booking anything like that in the winter because you don't know what the weather's going to be like and your plans could get ruined and you could lose the money. So not to be a downer, but I'm just trying to take care of you.
Trying to let you know, seriously. The Black Shack in Western Head, we drove by it like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, it looks so nice. Would it be weird to stay there when I live like 5 minutes away?
I mean, it's going to be a little bit of money when your bed that's for free is you're already paying for that at one place. It is lovely though. The craftsmanship is beautiful. So, I mean, but it is small. I will say that. So in the winter, you probably would be like, because you can't go out on the deck and sit out and enjoy it like you could in the summer. So just keep that in mind.
Gotcha. All right, let's finish by talking about some festivals because it wouldn't be Nova Scotia without some festivals.
Right.
All right, so the first one is actually happening right now. It started on November 26th. It ends on December 19th. And that is the Evergreen Festival in downtown Halifax. So it is a 2021 outdoor winter showcase of Nova Scotian culture, food, spirits, craft, art, and memorable experiences to celebrate and embrace the essence of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of like some cool art or something along the waterfront. It would look like a piece of like mesh wire, and it like you could see the shape of a boat in it. It was the coolest looking thing. Oh yeah, like I think it looks really neat.
Yeah, I'm very sad that I live far away from it now because I would like to check that out, but I'm not sure that's in the cards this year, but hopefully they'll have it again next year.
Getting Peter downtown is not in my cards ever. So there's that. Where else could we go?
Downtown Dartmouth Ice Festival. So this is in early February. They haven't announced the dates yet for 2022, but they do live ice carving, horse-drawn wagon rides, fireside song circles, indoor winter wonderland bounce zone featuring ice princesses and Portland the Penguin.
Oh my God.
I know, sounds fun.
I didn't know that existed till today, but cool.
Bouncy castles and ice princess skating party, much more, all for free. Sounds a little bit more kid oriented, but
it's not my jam, but God, that sounds fun if you have a kid or if you are a kid.
Yes, super fun. And then Pictou Winter Carnival is also in early February. Also haven't announced the date, so they do sleigh rides, swimmings, arts and crafts. They also have like dinners and breakfasts and that sort of thing. And then we did
Calgary Stampede-ish with their dinners and their breakfasts.
All the dinners and the breakfasts. And we did see the Nova Scotia Ice Wine Festival is not happening in 2022, but they plan to be back for 2023. So if you're circling back to this episode in 2022, end of 2022, and being like, what can I do? Then maybe let's see.
Do catch up with us on social media to let us know if we predicted it correctly.
We predicted correctly.
Let's hope everything's back in 2023.
I do want to say, I saw this on social media this morning. This is a little off topic, but if you ever watched the Jetsons, George Jetson is born in 2022. That's all I'm going to say.
Really?
Yes. So we're not that far away from a Rosie robot cleaning our house, people.
I will be waiting for her.
I'm very excited about it.
Wow, look at you. That is some off a topic, but lovely trivia. Go you.
That's what I'm here for.
I know.
So we hope this episode has inspired you to do some fun things this winter, even if you like to hibernate a little bit more like we do. And I just want to say through this podcast, I've learned about so many things to do in Nova Scotia all year, when we're doing research and we're asking people what they like to do. And it's been great, like being able to share. I think, did we do a summer episode? We did a fall up, what to do in fall.
We did a fall. We'll do that in 2022.
We'll get there. Summer. Go outside.
Spring and then summer. We'll cover you people.
Oh, we'll be there.
Do it.
It's been really great. So as always, you can find us on our website, travelmugpodcast.com, which is currently getting a makeover and will be all brand new and shiny in the new year. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Travel Mug Podcast. And you can watch us on our YouTube channel. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you've noticed that Megan and I both dyed our hair pink.
We're so wild, you guys.
No, we're out of control.
Love it.
And we would also love it if you would give us a review on Apple Podcasts. And it really helps the show if you do that, and to share with a travel-loving pal.
Sharing is caring. Bye, everyone.
Bye.